In the Essential Training title, we looked at how you can put often used objects in a library panel and then pull them out whenever you need them. Let's revisit libraries so I can show you some even cooler aspects of this awesome feature. I'll create a new library here by going to the File menu and choosing from the new submenu, Library. I'll go ahead and just leave this called Library. Click Save. And now the library panel appears in my workspace as a floating panel. I'll resize it and move it over just to a place that's a little bit more convenient for me. And as we saw in the Essential Training title, I can select objects on my page and just drag them onto my library to add them as a single object. All three of those image frames are added as a single library object here. But what if I have a lot of objects on my page that I want to put into my library? Can I do that? Sure. I'm going to delete the objects that I don't want added to the library, or you could put them on an invisible layer, on a hidden layer, or on a locked layer, like this background art is on a locked layer. Now I go to the library panel and I choose from the flyout menu, Add Items on this page. InDesign warns me that anything that's on a locked or invisible layer won't come along for the ride. That's fine, I'll click OK, and we can see that all the objects on the page have been added as a single library item. Here's a third option. I'll go to the flyout menu and I'll choose Add Items on this page as separate objects. In this case, it goes through and it says anything that's not on a locked layer or an invisible layer, then add it to my library. You can see that each of these objects has been added as a separate library object, one at a time. Now the library panel is kind of like a little database. It keeps track of all kinds of information about those objects that are in here. For example, I can double click on one of these library items and it opens the item information. It automatically grabbed the name of it here. I could change that if I wanted to, but I'm just going to add something to the description here. I'll call this Really Cool Teapot. Okay, and I'll click OK. And now we have the name here, but behind the name, sort of hidden information like metadata, is the description. We can do the same thing for some text here as well. I'll double click on this text. That is this Dragon Well text up here, and I'll call this Dragon Well, and I'll put in the description beveled headline here, okay? Click OK. And now both of these are added here. Note that it changed the order of the items in the library when I changed its name. That's because the library usually sorts things alphabetically. You can change that if you want by going to the library flyout menu, going down to Sort Items, and choosing by name or the newest, oldest, or even by type. For example, you might want all the graphics together and all the text together. When you have a lot of objects in a library, it's helpful to be able to search for them. And you can do that by clicking on this little binoculars icon, or by going to the flyout menu and choosing Show Subset. Either way, you get the Show Subset dialog box, and you can type in what parameters you want to look for. For example, we're going to search the entire library for any object that is an image. Or we could choose all the PDF objects, or all the text objects, and so on. Click OK, and you can see that 4 images show up here. We could do the same thing by changing the object type to description. We could say, find me all the ones that have the description of teapot. When I click OK, it'll search through the entire library and find me my one image, which is a teapot. Let's go back and show all the images again. From the flyout menu, I'll choose Show All, and I'm going to show you one other library feature. Let's say I move these around so that I have a slightly different effect. I really wish this library item would be updated to reflect that same effect. Well, I can do that. I'll select all 3 of those, come over, click on the library item I want to update, and then choose Update Library Item from the flyout menu. It simply throws away the item that was in the library and it replaces it with whatever is selected on the page. Also, remember that you can have more than one library panel open at a time. With all of these features, you can make your libraries act almost like a mini asset management system that will help you stay organized as you work.